Hey everybody, it's Mike Copera here with podcastcondition.com, bringing you 91, episode 91 of What You Drinking, and we got some regulars here with us tonight. We got AJ, Brandon, and Dan. How you guys doing?
Good, doing great.
Doing great. That's good to hear. We might have some others coming a little bit later, according to Brandon. We might have Skylar joining. I know Kevin's sick. I was out having some beers with him last night out in the suburbs, and he was texting me earlier today asking if I was feeling all right today because we were kind of letting each other taste, our beers, and I was like, I'm feeling fine. He's like, yeah, unless you're changing the wheel spin from Doppelbock to the I think he said chicken broth and ibuprofen. He's out tonight. So.
Not good.
I'm actually almost in the same boat. I'm hoping the Doppelbock kicks the sickness out. Like I'm on my way. Like tomorrow, I'm gonna need the chicken broth and the ibuprofen. So I'm just gonna try to drink it away tonight, and we'll see what happens.
Alcohol will kill it, right?
That's right.
It's supposed to kill everything, so we'll certainly find out tomorrow.
Exactly.
I'm finishing up my daily cutter here before I open up my Doppelbock. So has anyone got theirs ready yet, or poured already, or what you guys?
I haven't poured mine yet.
Yeah, I got mine going.
What do you guys have?
Let's hear. I got the Ondex Doppelbock Dunkel. So this is from sunny old Germany. I don't know a whole lot about it. Let's hear. I'm not sure. Yeah, there we go. It's 7.1% ABV. I have no idea how much they popped it up. It's probably not that much, but it's a solid smelling.
Dan, your mic.
I think you muted yourself.
No, I got it. I'm gonna have to switch I'm on the bad port again on this. This is. I don't know if you can see the color very well. Probably not. It's kind of a reddish brown. Really pretty. You can see right through it. I can see the light bulb right through the other side, and it's great. That is a good beer. So got some nice caramely presence to it. It's got some sort of it's got to have a bit of Munich in there because it's really got a nice kind of malty solidity to it. Man, that is just delicious. I'm on board for Doppelbocks again. I know I'm usually the one that's like, lagers, no thanks, but that's a good beer.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I mean, I bought this 6-pack that I'm finishing up tonight last week for the show, and this is a brewery that I. It's a Chicago brewery here that they specialize in lagers pretty much exclusively. They're pretty old brewery too. Like they've been around for a while. I remember going to a beer fest out in Oak Park, which is a suburb here in Chicago, and they had just started up, and I was just kind of questioning what their plans were and everything, and they were saying it's going to be all lagers. So this first of all, it's a cool label. This one's called the Generator, and this is a Doppelbock that comes out in the winter time. Usually, it's a seasonal, and it's slightly not really, but too much, but slightly more expensive than the regular beer. So I don't know. I have to assume that there's a little bit more that goes into this one, but it's kind of similar to yours, Dan. This looks really dark on camera, but it's red. You can see through it. It's very red brownish. It's got a really good, almost like a chocolatey smell to it. It's crazy. Have you had this one before, Dan? I know. I mean, this one's easy for you to get too. I think you're muted again. Something's up with your audio, dude. There you go. Nah. Anyways, Brandon, did I ever send you this one? Is this one of the ones that I've ever mailed you, or?
I don't think you ever sent that one to me, but I would be interested in trying it in the near future.
Yeah, I know you're a big lager guy, so I'll definitely get you some of their beers. I mean, they're pretty top notch all the way around, but this is especially one of my favorites from them.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
good. Yeah, I was about to say that chocolatey note that especially on the flavor, you should be getting that is pretty. That's something that is noted as style. So that's something you'll run across along with some of the like you can taste some of the darker fruits in this one too. Um, but yeah, oh, good God, this is a good beer. Sorry,
Yeah.
I keep saying that.
Yeah. So this is a good one. How about you guys, AJ, Brandon? You guys got anything poured
Go
right
to
now already?
Brandon. I think he poured his before mine.
Yeah, well, I'm having a Weihenstephaner Corbinian, which is a classic double block from Germany, brewed at the Weihenstephan Brewery, oldest operating brewery in Germany. Of course, it was former Benedictine monastery, so I feel it's pretty appropriate they chose to use Saint Corbinian as a namesake for their double block. And of course, if you know anything about the iconography of Saint Corbinian, it's the saddled bear, which is his iconography. It's there on the bottle and the label.
Cool.
So I always thought it was pretty cool.
Very unprepared right now.
Well, yeah, it's also 32 bitterness units, 7.4% ABV, and of course, according to the website, it has hints of plums and figs, a dark malt aroma, reminiscent of toffee, nuts, and chocolate. Of course, I get all those things. It's a very well-made beer.
Nice. Yeah, looks good. How about you, AJ? What you got over there? Let's see what that looks like, Brandon.
All right, I am staying pretty close to home right now with the Troganator by Trog Brewing Company.
There you go.
It is an 8.2%. It has a really cool old dude that looks like Greg Puckett with horns.
I hope Greg's watching.
Shout out to Greg's beer reviews on YouTube. Watch him. He's pretty awesome. Old friend of mine. The color is, and I mean, I don't know what, like, I'm pretty far away from the camera, so, but this is very much what you guys are describing. It's very red, very translucent. You know, I can see right through it. Little to no head on it. I get more of, like, I think you guys said you were getting like some maltiness or caramel on the smell of it. This is more of what I would think of a traditional red ale off of the aroma on it. I actually haven't had this beer. I just checked it into Untapped, and for as many times as I've drank this beer, I've never checked it into Untapped for some reason. So I'm guessing that the last time I drank this was before Untapped actually existed. So that's how long since I've had this. So this is going to be a treat. I picked up a 6-pack just after work today because I had no Doppelbock, surprisingly, in my basement.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't had too many Trog beers, but I like any of the ones I've ever had, especially.
Oh man, I will send you a box of Trog beer, including some aged Mad Elf, which you're gonna love.
I have heard of that.
Oh, if you've never had it, man, it's a treat.
Nice. And I would also like to compliment you on your coasters over there, because
You got the same one.
Well, I mean, we got.
Just about, yeah.
Ours were from our wedding. It was a wedding gift, so.
I think I got mine when I bought my first house. I think they were purchased for me. So.
Bed Bath and Beyond, woo!
You know what? Yeah. It works, and I've used them for that was what, Jesus, 10 years ago. So they're very durable, and they capture liquid like it's nobody's business.
Yeah, they catch like all the sweat that comes off your glass pretty good. So.
Yes,
but anyways, the style, is, kind of ranges, I guess, from 6.5% to 9%. So these guys can get kind of high. This one's 8.2.
Mine is 8.2 as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't taste like it. It doesn't really taste that strong.
I don't get booze out of this at all. I'm not tasting the alcohol whatsoever, which is great and not great at the same time. Which I'm sure you all know for beers that you don't taste alcohol in.
Yep. So before we get into any like beer news and stuff that we normally do, Dan, you've been you were on a trip on the East Coast, and it sounded like you brought some beers back. What any stories to tell, or any travels that you might want to report on as far as breweries or beer bars out there that you went to?
Yeah, there were a couple of noteworthy ones. We stayed in Salem, actually, so about half of the time we were there, we were checking that part of town out, or that town, I should say, because it's not really Boston. Hold on a second, because I forget the name of the bottle shop that I went to, but Gullah Gullah, or Galoo Galoo, was this restaurant and beer bar that we hung out at a couple of times while we were there, and it was fantastic. They had just all sorts of stuff on tap, and if you couldn't get it on tap, they had a bottle selection to back it up. So that was a nice place. Let's see here. There was I'll get to the bottle shop in a second. When we actually went to Boston, I didn't get to go to a whole lot of the breweries themselves because there's just too much to do, but I was able to just squeak in going to Trillium. And yeah.
Oh, you went in?
Yeah.
You went in?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Well, that was the only way you could get the beer, because they're really unreliable on the distribution because they just sell out of it so quickly in the shop that they don't get it out of there very much. So that's basically about 90% of what I brought back were Trillium beers. I got their A Street IPA, the Congress Street IPA, one bottle of each of those, and I've already gone through the A Street. And then there were they had two variations on a night and day Russian Imperial Stout with coffee added. One was an Italian roast, and the other was a different roast that has more sort of cinnamon notes to it, it sounded like. So I got two bottles of each of those. And then at the place in Salem, what was it called? Hold on a second, because I think we stayed at this place called the Salem Inn too, which was kind of cool because usually we do hotel stays, and an inn experience is definitely a little bit different.
Was it almost a bed and breakfast, or was it just like a traditional inn?
It was more like a traditional inn where we had sort of a family suite, and then you would go down the steps, and at the bottom there would be like a restaurant area. Then you'd have a continental breakfast there.
Okay.
Oh no, hold on a second. Okay. But anyway, it was funny trying to get to Trillium because Trillium is a tiny, tiny little place, and if you don't know where it is, you can get lost like that. And what we ended up doing was that there's this. It's not too far away from the river. Getting near the waterfront, and they have a Boston Tea Party sort of living museum sort of deal going on there. So we went to that, and we got out of it's sort of like live theatrical presentation, that you participate in. So it's it's cheesy fun, but with some actual historic value, I guess. Yeah, it's tourism crap. But I was, on my phone, and I was like, oh my God, Trillium is literally like a 5-minute walk from here. So I walked towards there. The first place that I get to that it looks like is on my Google Maps phone, I walk in, it's a bottle shop. I'm like, where's Trillium? And they're like, oh, it's just around the corner and to the right. So I go down and to the right, and I go I pass this alley, and I go into the next building, and it's a restaurant. I'm like, where the hell's Trillium? And they're like, oh no, it's back behind you in the alley. And I was like, oh my God, is that... I walked to the alley. There's this little door on the side of the alley about 15 feet into the alley, and there's Trillium, and it's this tiny little place. It's got like a row of about 12 stools lined up around the bar, and they've got sort of a fridge where they've got the bottles, and they've got the taps behind them. But it's one of those places that if you didn't know it was there, man, you could spend the rest of your life living in Boston and walking by that place, and you would just... it would never be on your radar.
No, I'm laughing because I pretty much almost verbatim. I've never been there, but I had two of my good friends that I normally do bottle shares went out there, and they went to Trillium for the first time a couple weeks ago, and almost verbatim they told the same story that you just told about trying to find a place. And then they followed it up with, they don't have a bathroom, so I ended up peeing on one of the employees' cars in the alley, They wouldn't serve us samples because they can't serve samples. So we just bought a bunch of bottles and we were chugging them as we were walking down the street. So I had a great time at Trillium.
Oh man.
Sounds like it.
But
Yeah.
I think I said this maybe 2 weeks ago when we were on the show. But I had one bottle. It was a Mosaic dry hopped IPA, and it was one of the dankest and best IPAs I probably have ever had. So I'm very much looking forward to trying more of their stuff because I think they're going to be one of those like dark horse up and coming breweries that nobody knows about. They're going to get to GABF and like clean house.
Yeah.
Have they been at JBF yet? Because I mean, they've been around for.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean, I didn't know they existed until maybe a month ago, when somebody brought a bottle over of this beer, and then I heard that story that I just told you. So, it's.
So I know of them because of Mike, who joins the show on occasion. He's from Boston. He lives in a suburb of the city now, but he works in the city as far as I know. And he when I went to visit him, because my wife and his wife are old college friends. He's known my wife forever, so he knew I was a big beer guy, and he goes, okay, I'm gonna he wanted to take me there, but we ended up going to Jack's Abbey, which is fantastic anyways. But he had picked up a couple bottles from Trillium, and he let me take those home, and I've had he's shipped me some other stuff too since I've been home, and I mean the stuff's amazing. Everything that you guys are saying, I completely agree with, and I think they should be much bigger than they are, but like it sounds like they're just. I mean, I don't know anything about their plans as far as how big they want to get. Maybe they want to stay this, tiny.
No, they're expanding actually. If you go to their website and you look on the blog, they are, and it sounds like the expansion is going to be outside of the city area. So it's we're in a different part. So I don't know if they're going to like Somerville or something like that, but. They are definitely looking to increase capacity, and I think that part of the problem they're having too is that, and Mike I think was talking about this the last episode, they have a lot of licensing issues that really make it hairy to do certain things like sell beer without selling food, or selling beer and food at the same time, or selling bottles on top of that, and blah, 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 blah,
Sounds like EA.
Yeah, there you go.
Well,
but,
if you guys remember last winter, like early winter, maybe like November, they were like closed. Like they had to shut down for like a few weeks, if not like a month, because of licensing shit. That like something wasn't filed correctly, or there was something in the verbiage that forced them to kind of halt business. I mean, I think they were still like brewing while that was happening, so that they could, because they knew that once the shit was fixed, they could start selling again. So they just kept brewing during that time, but their license was somehow postponed or revoked.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess that was all state legislation. I doubt that anything federal would have held them up.
No.
Just like going through the process myself and doing the research for trying to get a federal and state license. State is where everybody gets hung up on. It's like federal. As long as you submit your label, trademarks and your names and everything, and the feds approve it, which you really have to be off the grid for them not to approve your stuff, or just be like completely infringing on something else that's already trademarked.
Yeah.
The feds pretty much approve. As long as you pay them, they're fine.
Yeah.
It's the state that hangs everything up, and unfortunately, it seems like the Northeast is the worst place to own a brewery in the United States because.
Barring the South, because it sounds like the South is finally getting out of a lot of the
Texas.
I mean, if you talk to Skyler, I mean, about Texas and all the crap that they've been.
Brandon knows.
Yeah, I know a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think the South is making larger strides than we are here in the Northeast.
That may be very true. It sounds like it's finally coming around.
I mean, that's a good point as far as like state laws, but it could even be the city itself. Because I mean, if anything here in Chicago, opens eyes on anything. It's hard to do business in the city without having to oil some, grease the oil or grease the wheels or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
So you never know what the deal was, but so they can't do samples. So what can you do there? Can you buy like a full pint and have it there, or?
I think it's just pints, growlers, and bottles, right?
It's definitely bottles and growlers. I don't even know about pints at this point. I remember that Mike got on in the episode just before I went, and he was like, you may just end up getting bottles there and nothing else, because right now they've got some stuff going on. So
just bottles and growlers.
Yeah, but
that would line up to the no food thing, because we had like in PA, I think it's still a law. I don't think they've changed it yet. But we had a brewery that opened in Wilkes-Barre, PA, which is about 15, 20 minutes from where I am in Scranton. And they were able to sell growlers, and they were able to give out samples, but they couldn't charge for the samples. So you can basically go to the brewery's Breaker Brewing out of Wilkes-Barre, PA. Their stuff is really, really good. I will try to send you guys some. Like, they don't bottle much anymore. They normally only bottle their big seasonal releases. But
Right.
I'll see if I can get my hands on them and get them out to you guys, because they're quality.
Nice.
But
and that reminds me of another thing, because there was one other place that I went to brewery-wise. It was our very last day. Actually, and I figured out the name of the liquor store that I went to in Salem. It was Quality Liquors, and I really want to give them a shout out, because it was a nice place to buy a bottle of beer. They were very helpful. Knew their stuff. Told them I was looking for something local, and were right on it. I got something from Pretty Things. It was a barley wine that they put out annually.
is it Baby
And
Shark?
actually, I don't remember. I gotta look down this. Yeah, it sounds right.
Baby best label in the business. Best and
But,
creepiest label in the business.
What's
No, it
the
wasn't-
what's the other
it wasn't
one
that
from
one.
them? Pretty Things, like something bunnies, isn't it?
Yes.
It's
Oh,
not-
is
it's
that
not
the
Fuzzy
Russian
Bunnies.
process?
No,
No, it's-
that's what I was thinking too, though. So
Fuzzy Bunnies, I think, is from New England.
I can look it up.
but they're good beers. I mean, I liked
Everything for Pretty Things I've had is outstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mike brought up Jack's Abbey. The other thing that I got was a barrel-aged Imperial Porter from Jack's Abbey that looked just outstanding. But we were also up to Gloucester a bit, which is a little bit further north of Salem and Boston. And there they have a Cape Ann Brewery right on the waterfront, and it's a brew pub. But you were talking about the seasonal releases getting bottled by a lot of these smaller places. Very much the same way there. They had a Russian Imperial Stout. I wanted to say that was made with raisins and another like cocoa nibs. And
Nice.
I was like, hey, can I have a pint of that, or not a pint, but like a snifter of that? And they said, well, nah, it's just on bottles. And by that time, I was like, I don't know if I can bring any more bottles back. I'm already gonna blow one suitcase out at this rate. So I couldn't get one. I couldn't get that.
That's why I drive everywhere.
There you go.
That's
Wow.
why I drove the 9.5 hours to Michigan, and then I drove to Chicago, and then I drove to Indiana first. Then we went to Chicago, and then we went back to Indiana, and then I drove the 11 hours home with
Wow.
like
Yeah.
6.5 or 7 cases of beer in my car.
So what from Chicago have you had then? Because I was actually at Binny's today, and I was trying to figure out what to put together for you, and I don't know if you've had any half acre.
I mean, honestly, like, Chicago-wise, the only thing that I mean, obviously Goose Island.
Right.
I've had just about everything from them.
No, you haven't. No, you haven't.
I've had a lot.
There's always new stuff. Have you had the
I can go to the brewery and walk out or just walk in there and look at their 3 to 4 barrel aged things that they have that are brewery only releases. Then yes, I could say that I haven't. But as
Have you
far
had
as
the-
what's that?
Have you had the muddy?
Yes.
Pretty good. What do you think of that?
I thought it was good for like. I thought it was average, to be honest with you. As far as Goose goes, to tend to stray more towards their sister line and like Matilda and Sophie. Obviously, I'm a sourhead, so I go that way, and then obviously Bourbon County is by far my favorite, like in my top 5 favorite beers of all time. Yeah. So anything Bourbon County for me is gold. But I really enjoy Goose IPA. Just regular Goose IPA, I think, is a really solid, cheap alternative IPA that a lot of people don't know about, and I don't think it gets a lot of credit for being as quality as it is for an IPA.
Agree. Yeah. I use that beer to cook, especially chili. That beer is phenomenal to make a lot of food with, but chili especially. It's really good.
So Goose, I'm very familiar with. When I was out there, I was at Revolution, and I pretty much tried everything I could get at Revolution. And what else? Half Acres out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I pretty much had Daisy Cutter, like just a regular Daisy Cutter from them, and that's about it. So I think that's pretty much it from Chicago, unless you want to rattle off some other breweries that I'm not familiar with. But
well, I mean, there's a lot more in Chicago now.
A lot of them are more recent too. I mean,
since you've been here, we've kind of exploded, and there's quite a bit. But Illinois as a whole is gotten a lot more. You mentioned you're a big sour person. Have you had much from Distill? They're a Southern Illinois brewery.
Never heard of them.
Oh shit! I got some stuff to send you.
All right.
I had a beer last night because I was out, like I said, with Kevin, and we were out in the suburbs in LaGrange, and the food of the place we were at was pretty, but the beer selection was page and page and pages of really good shit, and they had a beer called Here Goes Nothing, and it was a Goes that. I've had that was the green can of, remember the sour. What was the other sour of theirs that I had on the show again?
It's the red one. It was the not the Oud Bruin. It was like a Belgian. It was a
Flanders.
Flanders red. Thank you.
It's a Flanders. And the Goes was amazing.
I didn't know the brewery, and I'm calling out the style. What's up?
I know, right? Well, I said he said the can's red, so that was a good hint. But the one I had last night, the Ghost, was amazing. I need to send you some Distill if you're a big sour guy, and they're canned too, so you can keep them in the cans and cellar them for a while if you want, and no light's gonna get in there, and it's I'm telling you, Distill is a very popular up and coming brewery in my opinion, because I think they scored pretty big at GABF maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. They were kind of the talk of the town, and they kind of just expanded up into Chicago maybe a year or two ago. But some of their stuff is, phenomenal. They've got a pretty average IPA in cans as well. Nothing bad to say about it. It's just nothing spectacular. But that's a brewery I'll definitely share with you because you've not. It sounds like you haven't had that. So
I have, but everything I'm picking up, I'm liking more and more. So if they have a quality Goes, it's gonna be excellent.
Yeah. Cool. So what's new in your neck of the woods, Brandon? I see you were trying a new brewery this week. 40. What is it?
40 Open? That's out of Raby, Louisiana. That's New Orleans area. So they put where to drink their beers. It's like, well, they talk all about the New Orleans and Metairie, but they don't really mention the fact that some of their beer did make it to Baton Rouge, and I tried some while I was passing through Baton Rouge, and I tried their Delacroix. It was their Abbey Ale. It wasn't too bad. I like to try their other beers to see what else I like. They also have an American lager, and of course they also have a Japanese rice beer, which I think is pretty interesting considering rice is a big staple crop in Louisiana. So it does seem interesting that somebody would choose to brew a Japanese-style rice beer in Louisiana. So I'm definitely on the lookout for that the next time I pass through New Orleans.
Nice. How'd you discover them?
Well, I heard about them. I haven't really kept up with a lot of what's new in Louisiana brewing. I've been moving around a lot the last few months. heard about them from a friend and saw they were on draft somewhere in Baton Rouge when I stopped, and I said, well, okay, I'll try their beer.
Nice. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I was checking out the website that you had. Um, I was also seeing something. One of the beers that you had sent me in the past. What was the one that? And we actually talked about it too. The
St. Arnold's?
No. Hang on
Okay.
a second. Give me a second to pull it up. Because I was
the Mule Sauvage?
No. Where the hell is that story? All right, I just had it pulled up a little bit ago. It was what was this? The smoked lager that you sent me. Do you remember what that one was?
Oh yeah, Boucanet. That was it wasn't a smoked lager. That was a smoked wheat beer. Did I send you the Boucanet from Bayou Teche?
Nice.
Yeah, Bayou Teche. That's right. So I saw a story about them, but now I'm not seeing it. I thought I had pulled it off and put it aside so I can talk about that or ask you about that, but no, I'm not seeing it here. So maybe I screwed it up.
Yep.
But you know what I was seeing is something kind of cool that Zach Christopherson over at Chain Reaction. They do a comedy night on Fridays over at his brewery, which is kind of a cool idea, man.
Huh.
That's such a good combo. Like, why hasn't anyone ever done? Like, I don't hear that ever is going on in a brewery. Like, you always have bands coming in. What were you saying?
I think it's very rare that you see that kind of combination actually happen.
But why? It's such a. I mean, booze,
I
and comedy just goes hand in hand, just like music, you know?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially because, I mean, there was a time when there were comedy clubs all over the place, and at least here in Chicago, in this market, they've gone down in a hurry. So there've got to be a lot of comedians out there, needing work somewhere, and why not at a brew pub or something like that? I mean, you're right. It's a dead-on, perfect combination.
Especially in Denver. I mean,
right?
You can get pretty easy laughs with all the stoners that probably live out there too.
Just get drunk and high, and then go like some people make jokes that don't make sense, but you get them.
Exactly. No, but I think that's a really good idea. But also, you were on the topic of sours. I know I'm jumping all over the place, but I
have a story that's totally gonna jump totally different spot. So.
All right, let's jump tracks. Go ahead.
No, go ahead and tell do your side.
I was just gonna say, it's probably been said a million times on this show before, but one of my favorite breweries, if not my favorite, outside of Chicago. I mean, I'm a big fan of Revolution. That's where I got married. Half Acre's probably up there as far as my favorite Chicago brewery. But Shorts out of Michigan. Man, they put out really good stuff. They just released one of my favorite beers of theirs, Freedom of 78, which is a really good guava IPA that they did.
Oh yeah.
Collaboration back in 2010 with Half Acre, because both breweries are huge Ween fans, and I guess they
Ween, all right.
Yeah. They bonded over Ween in 2010 at the Craft Brewers Conference that was held in Chicago, and so they leaked a bunch of beers into the market when they were in town, and that's how I discovered them. And so, anyways, long story short, they just started a sour program, so they're doing a whole new.
Half Acre?
No, unfortunately, it's just in Bel Air, Michigan, up north. So, and what sucks is the sours are only going to be available at the brew pub 6 hours away from me, so it's not going to be easy for me to get this. I know it's. I mean, I usually go there about.
It's awesome.
Two to three times a year is usually our thing, but since we're having a baby this year, our vacation time is not going to be used for anything but time off. So. But
wait, will it be on pours or will it be on bottles? So you can pick up on bottles? Okay, nice.
Bottles, but only at the brew pub up in Bel Air. So they've already released one of them. I think they're doing a goes on on the 25th, which everyone that is a beer geek knows is Dark Lord Day. But up north in Bel Air, they're releasing their Goza, and
it's kind of interesting that I think the majority of us on this show are pretty good friends with somebody that lives in Michigan.
I know.
And closer than all of us to Shorts.
I know. Wait, who lives near Shorts? 'Cause I know Chris is still 3 to 3.5 hours away from Shorts.
Yeah, you're 6. I'm I don't know, 13. Chris is closer than all of us.
Yeah. I'm way far away from Shorts. We won't even get into distance there.
Right,
Yeah.
you're 22 hours from Shorts.
No, you got to be careful with that because then that'll have Mike and I driving to Toppling Goliath in Iowa, which is probably about 4 hours, 3.5 hours away. And I don't know, man.
Right.
No, but
I mean, if you want to, I'll send you gas money.
So that's cool that you know what, I take that back because I think the 25th is their 11th year anniversary party. They may be releasing it then, but that's the reason for it, I believe. So last year they actually had Dean Ween come and do a concert with a Ween cover band from Chicago called it's Dean Ween and I can't remember their name now, but
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, if you go on YouTube on the Shorts Brewing YouTube channel, they have the most latest video is Joe Short talking about how he just wants to be BFFs with Dean Ween, and so he actually got to go on a fishing trip with him and talk.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I'm not kidding, dude. They have a great podcast. First of all, if you've never heard of Short, they have it's called Shortscast.
Yeah.
You got to check it out. It's it's hit or miss sometimes because they'll have certain topics that you may not be interested in. I, as a guest or as a huge fan of Shorts, is just obsessed with everything they do or say. So I'm listening with both ears open. But I'm not saying it's for everybody. But if you're a fan of them and their beers, I highly recommend it. But yeah, so I really want to try to get some of those sours, and so I do know a couple of people that live in Bel Air because like I said, we go up there a couple times a year at least on a normal basis, and it's just a beautiful area, So when were you up there? Was that the time when you were traveling up and down with Chris?
Yep, it was. I don't know if it was 3 or 4 years ago now. I think it was closer to 4. But I spent 3 days. I did 3 days in Michigan. And then 1 day in Chicago and Illinois, or Chicago and Indiana, for the last day of my trip. But the first day was the day I drove out, so I met up with Chris after I got to the hotel. I think we did Bell's.
His favorite.
It was definitely Bell's Arcadia. Did we do Dark Horse that same day, or was Dark Horse the next day? No, we did Dark Horse that day too. So it was Bell's Dark Horse Arcadia the day I got there.
Did you go to New Holland?
No, we didn't get to New Holland. And after the 9.5 hour drive and 3 breweries, I was done. So we ended up eating at. What's that?
Hopcat in Grand Rapids.
We did Hopcat the next day.
Okay.
So the next day we did Founders. Or we started at Perrin. We did Perrin. And that's really when Perrin first started.
You mean
before they even. Yeah. Their stuff was great though. I mean, everything I had there was really, really good.
It's hard to even get in there now, dude. I went there last. It's at least an hour wait. We went there on
really?
It's crazy. It's so bad.
We pulled up. There was no cars in the parking lot. We literally pulled up when they first opened and walked right in. Got premier seating in the place. Had all the waitresses in there. It was awesome.
Yeah.
We walked in with Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, I think they were 3 months old when I went there, and it was amazing. Really good beers, but yeah, it's very I don't know, trendy now. If you've if you go back, yeah.
I can definitely see that. But the second day we did Perrin, we did Founders, we did Hopcat. There was a fourth brewery in there. I can't remember what it was.
Oh, did you Brewery Vivant?
We didn't. No, Brewery Vermont wasn't on the list.
All right.
Was Mitten open yet?
What's the brew? I guess it's a brewer, full brewery, but the one that has like all the arcade games and the TIE Fighter.
Oh, that's up in Traverse City. That's Right Brain Brewing.
Right Brain, yeah. So that was probably the same day as Shorts.
Yeah, it had to be because that's up there. That's up north.
So, did we only do 3? Oh God, what did we do the second day? It was definitely Perrin. We started at Perrin. We did Founders. We did.
Did you guys go to North Peak up in Traverse City?
No, didn't do that.
No. Their beers are all right, but their food, dude, their food is fucking phenomenal. Their beers are okay.
We really didn't eat much when I was out there.
That's smart when you're drinking all that beer.
like literally the best thing I had food-wise when I was out there was at Revolution. That pulled pork on top of the burger.
Oh yeah, they got a
burger. I can't stop everybody I talk to about burgers. I'm like, no, you haven't had a burger until you've been to Revolution, because this shit is ridiculous.
I'm gonna tell you 2 things. One, they also do a pizza with the same ingredients on top of it. All right. Two, the next time you're in Chicago, they got a good burger at Revolution. Don't get me wrong. Go to Kuma's Corner, and you'll get the best burger.
Next time I'm in Chicago, I'm meeting up with you fuckers, and you're gonna take me to wherever I need to go. Is what's gonna happen.
All right, I'm switching it up. I'm going Daisy Cutter. We talked about it. I'm drinking it.
All right, I'm gonna tell a quick story, and I think Brandon's probably the only person that knows this because I don't think I posted it to Google Plus. I think I posted it to Facebook and Untapped, and that was it. And Dan's gonna miss this. I'm about to make you jealous.
And Brandon's not either. So you're talking to me now.
Wow.
Oh, he's got the black lead.
What is that?
What is that? That's the Lead Feather. That's the black IPA that they just started canning at Half Acre.
From where?
Yeah, Lead Feather.
Whoa. Nice, dude. That's a good one.
Yeah, it is. This is the last one I have. I've gone through the other 3 already.
You know, I haven't even bought a 4-pack of that yet. I had some at the brewery maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, but I haven't gotten any cans yet. So that
nice.
It's a good one. It's a good black IPA. They're doing what's another one? Shit, they got another IPA coming out, dude, in cans. Excuse me. When I was out there, and I got a growler of the Ginger Twin.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Which is their hopped up red ale.
Can you explain to me what a Ginger Twin is? Because I love ginger. So if it has ginger in it, I need it in my life.
It doesn't, unfortunately.
No,
so it's a really, really. You're gonna want this beer. It's a really, really hopped up red ale. But it's called Ginger Twin because they have 2 redheaded longshoreman beard-looking dudes on the label. And if you go to the brewery when they release that beer, and you either have a red beard, you get 10% off. And I think if you come in with a twin that has the same beard, I think there's even more, benefits.
You probably just get free shit.
Yeah, probably something like that. But
here's some swag, man. Just wear it.
Yeah, pretty much. Hands down, one of my favorite beers of theirs. I look forward to it every year. But I got that, and I picked it up for Kevin's St. Patrick's Day party last weekend. Sorry, I think I cut somebody off. So Dan, were you talking? Sorry. Well, you got let's see that beer, man.
There we go. No, I forgot it's as dank as it is. It's got massive head retention. It's just good. I'm not gonna describe it. It's like I'm just gonna enjoy it.
Nice. Yeah, it's a good dark. black guy.
All right, so I don't know where Brandon went, but I think he knows I've had this. Sunday was my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
And I acquired probably one of the greatest white whales known to man a couple weeks ago, and I was debating. I was really like going back and forth because I paid for it myself, and I paid quite a bit of money for it.
Ooh.
And I was debating, whether or not to split it with my regular bottle share folks or just drink it myself. Because really, if I drank it, there were going to be people in my like inner circle that were going to be pissed off because they weren't there. So I would have pissed people off no matter what. So I decided to piss everyone off and just drink it myself.
Drink it.
So for my birthday, I drank a Bourbon County Rare.
Ooh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm trying to get another bottle from the same guy that I got this from. He told me if I wanted another bottle, he has one left, and he would give me a discount on what I paid for it.
Do you want to say what you paid for that?
I don't want to make fun of me because it was a lot of money.
Yeah.
How much do you think I paid for it?
$100.
Dude, you have no idea what this is really worth in the beer community, do you?
I know what I would pay for it because the last time I had it was free because I went to Dark Lord Day and someone was like reaching over the line trying to force me to have some in my glass, basically. So.
Well, that's fantastic. I drank 22 ounces of it myself.
I mean, you don't have to say what you paid for it, but shit, man.
It was basically three times what you said.
That hurts.
Which is basically what it's going for, and
what?
Yeah.
What's the discounted rate that this friend of
I don't know. He didn't tell me, and I messaged him like he emailed me after he shipped it out, and he was like, I shipped it out. Once you get it, if you have it, if you want another bottle, let me know. I have one bottle left. He's like, since you bought this, I'll sell you my last bottle at discounted rate. So Sunday is like when I had it, like literally halfway through the bottle, I emailed him back and said, I'm interested in buying your other bottle. Is it still available? And what's the discounted rate? And is the discounted rate still available? And he hasn't gotten back to me. So I don't know if he's already sold it in the time that from when he shipped it till when I got back to him or what. But
let me help you.
He chugged it.
I'm going to give you a little bit of a help here. This maybe will work down the price a little bit. So we all are familiar with supply and demand.
Right.
You paid $300 because that's rare. That is something that they were only supposed to make once, and it was never going to happen again.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that they are going to be redoing the rare.
Come on.
I'm not kidding.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that shitty? It's so shitty, but that's what I've heard. So it may not be as rare as you think it is. So I would never pay that much money for that beer.
Well, it is and isn't because that particular edition of the beer is never coming out again. I mean, there is something
exactly,
unique,
dude. I mean, $300 for that is.
I mean, all right. So when you look at the side of the box, and you like, they did a really good thing here with their packaging, because they have 4 dates on this bottle, or 4 years on this box, and it's
cool.
It's the year that the 23 Pappy barrel was filled, which was 1985.
Wow.
The year that the Pappy barrel was emptied, which was 2008. 2008, which is when they filled it with Bourbon County, and 2010. So they aged it in a 23-year-old Pappy barrel for 2 years, 2 full years. So 2010, and then they put on here develops in the bottle up to 5 years.
Yeah. No,
so
I mean that's a.
I am like 7 months removed from this being obsolete.
Yeah. No, dude. I mean,
better in a bottle.
So what do you think? How fucking good is that?
I messaged the guy halfway through the bottle and said, I will pay what I paid for it, But if you want to give me a discount, awesome.
Nice.
That's how good I'm hard pressed to say it's the best beer I ever had because I had an 8-year-old Westie 12. I also had an 8-year-old Blue Pepe Creek from Cantillon. So like if we're talking purely style, absolutely best stout I've ever had in my life. Probably top 3 beers I've ever had in my life with the other 2 that I just mentioned.
I mean, we said it before on the show. I still have never had a Cantillon. So, I mean,
Really?
What?
Yeah. I've never come across one.
What? Yeah, I've traded Cantillon and I've drank Cantillon, so yeah, there you go.
So how'd you get your hands on it?
I bought it.
Okay.
Off the shelf probably, because I know like somebody like I don't know if you guys are familiar with Scott Shrewsbury that used to be big on Google Plus. He had to step away for a while. He used to just send me pictures of Cantillon on the shelf in Kentucky. How the hell does Kentucky have Cantillon on the shelf and I can't get it in PA anymore? I used to get it on the shelf all the time. Like back 2004, 2005, 2006, I'd walk into any shop and I used to just buy them out of Cantillon, which is why I had so many in my cellar, which is why I had an 8-year-old Lou Pepe. I bought them all. I had them on, like, we used to get them on tap. One of the main bars I go to here in Scranton, within 1 week period, I had a 2004 Lou Pepe Creek, Framboise, and Goose.
Nice.
On tap.
Nice.
And then Shelton Brothers pretty much stopped shipping stuff to PA. So the licensed distributor for Shelton Brothers didn't get anything anymore, and since then they've gotten limited releases of Cantillon, but they go to like top accounts.
Yeah.
In top like everything. Because Philly's huge out here.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's like 1 or 2 places in my area that gets them sporadically. So I have a really good friend whose bar is literally 2 blocks away from where I live right now, who got a lot of Cantillon when it was available. And basically I walk into his bar and I'm like, hey, did you bring anything from your cellar? And he lives about 2 blocks away from where his bar is. I'm like, did you bring anything from your cellar? He's like, you want that? I'm like, yeah. So I'm paying like really premium bar price for like 375 bottles of Cantillon, but they're all from like 2010.
Nice.
So they're really, really good. Like 2010 through 2012, he has available. So every once in a while, I'll walk out, like I'll have a bottle there, and I'm like, can I get one to go? And he's like, yeah, all right.
So
this is the great thing about the craft beer community, because he's just a big craft beer nerd. Like, I'm a big craft beer nerd. So I'll walk in with, like, a couple of bottles of Belgians that he's never had that I'm able to get through, like, online ordering or trades. And I'm like, hey, here's a bottle of this, this, and this. He's like, holy crap, how'd you get that? I'm like, give me the Cantillon. He's like, okay, here.
Yeah,
it's a great relationship that we have. It's a really, really, like, fair trade system that we have going on right now.
Yeah, that's cool. Like I just actually met somebody on a brewery tour at Revolution about a month ago, and he owns his own brewery in the southwest suburbs of Chicago, where I actually was born and grew up, and he just happened to own a brewery, and we were on the topic of Cantillon, and he was like, yeah, I got some, and I was like, I've never had it. And it was actually the day that Dark Lord Day tickets went on sale, and I was mentioning Dark Lord, and I did not get tickets this year, and he was like, that sucks, but I said, I got a friend who's going, and I'm hopefully going to continue my vertical. I got 2 bottles from every year from last year all the way to 2010, and then I've got 109. And I said, I'll share you the 09. I'll come to your brewery. we'll split the '09 if you want to share some Cantillon. So we're gonna do that hopefully in the next few weeks. I'm gonna email them and try to get something.
Well, if you want to
out.
come to the coast, I have a bottle of 2012 Creek.
Nice. I would be interested in that.
Yeah.
What was the other thing I was going to say? So the rare reminded me of a story. So 1 week ago, there's a really good beer bar, a beer store in Chicago called the Craft Beer Temple.
Not Benny's.
What's that?
Not Benny's.
No.
There's not Benny's. So there's 2 or 3 really good beer shops that are not Benny's in Chicago. One that I grew up. The store that I actually put on Beer Advocate. I listed them on Beer Advocate. They weren't even on there until I added them maybe like 10 years ago. Is West Lakeview Liquor Store. The 2 guys that used to work there started Jester King. That's how big of a beer place this is.
Wow.
Wait, was it Jester King or Pipeworks?
Both, actually. Thank you
Okay.
for reminding me of that. It was both.
Yeah, the one guy left. Chester came and go to Pipeworks.
No, that's actually not. I don't think that's the case. I think it's 2 separate occasions.
Is it really?
I think so. Because I've actually had black metal here in Chicago at that store. And I was like,
Yeah,
how
they do
the
sell
fuck
it
do you
there.
have Jester King? And she, the owner, her name's Christina, she's like, yeah, the guys from Jester King used to work here, so we've got a good relationship with them. But the craft beer, the other one's called the Craft Beer Temple, and the owner, his name is Chris Quinn. They've got a really he started out with a YouTube channel and a blog, like a review channel, where he's like a certified Cicerone, so his reviews are very in depth, very intricate, very well worded. Like he comes up with descriptions that I would never ever be able to. So I'm pretty big fan of that guy, and his store is amazing. He's very he pushes freshness on all his beers. He all the lighting in his refrigeration is what do you call it? It's not what's the new lighting now? It's not like
LED lighting.
Yeah, it's all LED. It's not fluorescent, so it's not going to harm any of the beer. It's better for it, at least I should say. But he pushes like freshness, so he'll get like 2-day-old Pipeworks that just got bottled, and he puts it on the shelf and he'll post it online. But he'll usually have a couple whales that he'll have in the cellar, or he'll have like fans that will come in and just give him bottles of stuff to share with his customers. So like once a week, maybe I would say, he'll post a picture like, here's this beer's open. He'll have like a Thomas Hardy or something crazy, open for anyone to go into the store and shop and taste whatever beer he's got open. So last Wednesday he had a box of Bourbon County Rare on the shelf. Yeah.
Wow.
So
oh my God.
I was like, I'm at work, and I was like, I mean, it would be really irresponsible of me, but I considered it. Then, like 2 hours later, I was so glad I stayed at work because he opened it up, and I realized it was April Fool's Day, and he pulled out a bottle of Bud Light and took another picture of it like 2 hours later. I was like, son of a bitch. He just had the box, but he put a Bud Light. I was like, that's pretty good. I didn't expect it, and I kind of stayed off the internet that whole day because I was like, everything that was posted was such like a bullshit story, and I was like, I get duped so many times when I forget that it's April Fool's Day when it comes to that shit. But that's a good store to hit if you're ever in Chicago. I should probably get going with the wheel here because we're already past 9 o'clock. So I'm gonna pull that bitch up. All right, so we're gonna take Doppelbocks off. Obviously, what do we want to add here? We got some spring weather coming. Is there a style that we should think about showcasing anytime soon? Is there a brewery we want to hit?
I'm gonna toss this out since we've talked about it several times tonight. How about Ghost?
Yeah.
Those. I'm in, man. That's
Why
a good
not?
one. All right, I'm gonna hit that. GOSE.
I'm gonna hit it too. Well, I mean, what? Never mind.
As soon as I said that, I was like, "Come on, someone's got to say something there." All right, this shit's spinning. All right, what are we landing on here? Can you guys see it? I can't really.
Barley
Barley
wine.
wine.
Ooh.
Barley wines. I'm
Nice.
happy with that. That's one of my favorite styles, and I've got quite a few in the cellar, so I might not even have to buy anything.
I do as well. I don't think I have to go shopping this week.
I'm set.
I've been kind of itching to open up the Surly anniversary beer that they just put out. It was a barley wine, and it's
No, that was an
Close.
oat wine.
oh, is it?
Yeah, it's an oat wine. But I think that it gets a pass. I mean, that's close enough.
I think I have a pretty nice one from Elevation.
I definitely have some other barley wines.
A good selection of barley wines in the basement to choose from.
Yeah.
I have 2011 Brooklyn Monster. I have a really nice release from Elevation. I'll probably have a couple more down there too. I'll have to check.
I'll have to take a look too.
I have 2 bottles of Monster left, and they're from different years, and I'm reluctant to crack them open now because it'd be the last of it ever.
Mm-hmm. Understandable.
Well, I'll tell you this: they're both on the same show.
What's that?
Brandon said he has 2 bottles of Monster left, and they're from different years. One on the and do them both at the same time, because you're not buying anything by holding on to one and not the other.
All right, we'll do that.
So, AJ, are you doing like a regular show later on in the week now? Because I get an invite every once in a while, and I'm always like either running about.
I have kind of
somewhere.
resurrected my original show, which was like started in beta Google Plus, which is like it's just a regular Thursday night show that is not live streamed to YouTube. It's virtually just all like a bunch of craft beer nerds hanging out bar with a bunch of friends. There's sometimes nudity, a lot of profanity. Normally no topics. The topics range from anything from really good beer to music to the NBA to whatever sport is active. Movies. We talk about everything. It's basically like a virtual bar kind of show that I'm doing, but it's not a show because it's not streamed to YouTube because they'd never approve it because there's just it's nonsense. It's totally uncensored, and I have a very small. I have a circle. It's just called Beer Hangout Circle, and the reason you guys are getting invites is because you guys are part of that. I would love to have you on Thursday nights, but it's really just a bunch of dudes hanging out. And sometimes some chicks that like to show nudity.
I was gonna say, if you said nudity and you said a bunch of guys hanging out, I was like, well, I was gonna.
I'll tell you this. I think Google Plus is 5 years old now, maybe 6 years old. Only once there have been a dude that showed nudity, and I've never invited those people back again.
Depending what time you possibly starting tomorrow, because I might be actually available to do that.
On Thursdays I normally start like 6 p.m. Eastern and go until like midnight or 1 a.m. So it's a very long process, and people come in and out and rotate all the time. So
I might be around tomorrow.
Invite, the hangouts there. If you don't whenever you're ready to join, if you don't see the invite, just send me a message and I'll send you a fresh invite for it. But it's just good times. Like Chris Phillips joins all the time. Skylar joins all the time. Zach, Brandon's on when he can. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Schraders. Bridget, Steve, they're out by me in Phoenixville. They're really good people and really good craft beer people. They're on all the time. It's fun. It's fun. We just laugh a lot and talk about a bunch of nonsense. So.
All right. Send me an invite tomorrow because I might be free to hang out with you guys.
Awesome.
All right. So what do we land on last? Okay, so we're barley wines next week. And I will be, yeah, we will definitely do a show. I know in a month from now, we're gonna have to miss a week because I'll be, and I'll probably have to ask you guys if anyone knows, because there's some of any breweries out like near Savannah, Georgia, is where I'm gonna be, like early May. So I'm gonna have to ask for some suggestions, maybe in some later shows.
I'm gonna guess that Brandon's gonna be your best choice for that one. He's
Yeah,
probably the closest out of all of us to Georgia.
I saw him put his hand up. So we'll talk maybe in a week or two about that, so I can plan out the few days I'm going to be out there. So, but that's the only Wednesday. I think it's going to be like May 6th. We're not going to be able to do a show, but before that, I don't see any reasons to not do any. So, so thank you guys for joining us. For anyone who watches this on the YouTube channel. Appreciate you guys subscribing and checking us out every week. We definitely get some views every episode, and I do see, like, when we get AJ joining us or whenever Greg jumps on, we see a little bit of a bump in viewers. So I appreciate that. For anyone who watches, man, I really appreciate that. Share us with your friends. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, and obviously YouTube. So. Soon we're gonna I think I'm gonna be turning this into an audio podcast pretty soon, probably in a month or so. We're gonna start transferring that onto iTunes and wherever you can get podcasts. So that's in the works, but I'll keep you guys posted if that happens anytime soon. Probably, like I said, probably in about a month or so.
Just a quick question: does anybody want an invite to the after party?
I'm gonna get going, so I'm not gonna be able to make it, but I can't speak for those guys.
The Brandon's in. Dan, are you in?
I can be in for a little while at least. Yeah.
All right. Just checking.
Okay. Thank you guys for joining, and we will see you guys next week with some barley wines. And cheers.
Cheers.
See you in 2 and 2.